Okay.
So how many more do we need? Okay. Yeah. Okay. 1, 2. Okay. Very good. All right.
Yeah, you can sit down.
Yeah, that's okay. All right. We can slide in the corner. Go to the corner. Yeah, up here is perfectly fine. So we need. Okay, good. And then. Okay. You know what I do? Let's.
Yeah, excuse me.
All right. And then I think we're good. That's it. That's it, Arlo. So you're good right here. Here you go. Fantastic. Okay, I think we're good. Good to go. This is what growth looks like. Fantastic. Okay, good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm excited for all of you. And Matt and I were talking earlier, and this is the highlight of our week if we get a chance to overview the company. You guys could come up a little bit if you'd like. I mean, it's up to you. But nevertheless, the reason why you're here, you guys, is because our company is doubling in size. Okay, so year over year, we've grown over 200% from our client side. As a matter of fact, we're looking at the numbers, and I think it's more closer to 300% from our client side and over 100% from our business side, right? So we're doubling our company size. We're going to continue to double in size at least until 2020 is the goal, right? So there's a whole lot of growth in front of us, which is very, very exciting, which is why everybody is here. For our company to double in size, we need twice the amount of human beings in the company for that to happen, right? So that's what we're doing here. Matt and I are going to go through a comprehensive overview of our company. And we're going to break that up into 2 segments. We're going to talk about the client side of what we do, which is, you know, the conceptual framework, the heartbeat of our business, how we serve our clients, who are business owners, their employees, individuals, families, right? And then we're going to come in and I'm going to talk about the second half, which is the business side of what we do. The business of business, staying in business, making money, all of that fun stuff, right? So we're going to talk about that too. So I'm going to pass the torch over to Matt when he walks in. And there's nobody more qualified than Matt to go through the first half with you, right? Matt and I met each other in the corporate world. It's crazy. We used to be managers over at Apollo Education Group, managing 10 to 15 bachelor degree minimum employees, making 75 grand a year, right? Just your standard management job. That's how him and I met each other. And I became a director in that company. And then I left corporate America completely to do what we do here. And when I did that, it caught the attention of Matt because I left a low 6-figure income. And it caught the attention of Matt, and he said, man, what is this financial thing that you're doing? And I started talking to Matt a little bit about our company and our growth, and he started working in the company with me part-time. A lot of people keep their full-time jobs here and then begin on a part-time basis. That's kind of a normal thing to do around here. So Matt, a few months later, ended up quitting his full-time job. Then a few months after that, became a VP, and now just rocking and rolling, and top VP in the company last month. He made over 50 grand last month, and is just rocking and rocking the house. Let's take it out of the fire. So I'm going to pass the torch over to Matt, and then I'll see you guys on the second half. So enjoy. All right. 10 or 15? 5.
Oh yeah, 10. Sounds good. This is what growth looks like. Very exciting. We're going to go through here. And if you could, if you guys want some water, go ahead and grab it now, because I know it's like totally human nature. People don't want to be the one person reaching out for a drink while somebody's talking. So if you're thirsty, grab some cups. Anybody want any cups? Anybody want any water? There you go. Because I know it's Arizona, you could get parched like that, and that way I don't feel as guilty drinking my water, and you guys are looking at me like, thirsty. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. So what we're going to do is talk about who we are, how we help people have better financial futures, and the way our business works. And I like to split it up into 2 of our great passions. Like Sammy said, the first one that I'm going to go over with you is how we help the consumer with our financial message. And the second one is how we help people build strong, enduring businesses that provide a great quality of life. Now, before I go into this, I just want to let you know, who in here has had experience in the financial industry? Love it. Usually it's literally just 1 or 2 people. And what I learned is most people don't get into this industry because they feel like they're not adequate enough, they don't have the experience, they don't have the education, they don't have the personality.
Like how I feel right
most people feel like, I will never be in that industry. And I love the fact that you guys feel like that, because I hope when you guys leave, you'll have a different perception of it, because I am a testament to that. I am the poster child of someone not getting into the financial industry because I felt inadequate. I have a bachelor's in graphic design. Like, people that have known me for years, My personality is more like creative. I like to draw. I was in band, right? Math is not my strong suit. I'm scared of math. I'm not numbers oriented. So most people would say people like that are what, like left side of the brain? I think that, I don't know if it's like a scientific statement, but I've heard it before. I'm more of the right side of the brain. So people that are tend to be right side of the brain never even considered going into this industry because they feel like they're setting themselves up for failure, right? And that's honestly, that's how I felt when Sammy called me that one day and said, Matt, we open up this office, Horn Financial Services, come out and see what we're doing. I said, absolutely not. This is not the direction I'm going. But I think him hounding me so much, I said, fine, I'll take a look at it. And when I came here and I got to meet the agents and I decided I want to move forward in this industry, what I realized, look, it's not about crunching numbers. It's not about math. We have software for that. Literally, if you could punch in some numbers, the software will figure all the stuff out for you. But this industry is really about helping people. That's what it's really about. It's about helping people, just financially. And I think our approach, the reason why we're growing so fast, is because our approach is not to sell people. We don't need to sell people things. We take an educational approach. We like to educate people on a lot of things that they never knew, that they'll never learn. And through that, I think a lot of people, once they have the knowledge, they can make a better decision for themselves, because if you know more knowledge, you know different strategies and different things you can do. What I'm finding out right now, most people and most of you guys right now, you guys are doing things because you're doing it based off of your current knowledge. That's the only reason why you're doing that. But what if there's a knowledge that you don't know about that can have you do something more effective for yourself? Wouldn't that be valuable to you? Without a doubt. And that's all we're doing with our clients. We're teaching them something that they never learned, and now they're looking at their current situation in a different way where it might result in different actions. And that's why we're growing so fast. I'm excited. Now, if you're going to get into an industry, definitely you want to have a competitive advantage. Like for instance, if you just told me right now, hey, I want to get in real estate, I would say that's probably not the ideal industry to get into right now. Why? Because it's oversaturated. There's so many real estate agents out right now. Not only that, how are you going to differentiate yourself from the next real estate agent? How are you going to make yourself different? How are you going to grow your business next to the next real estate agent? So what I've learned is you have to have a competitive advantage. You have to have a way you could differentiate yourself from all other competitors. That way you can actually win. And I think one of the biggest ways that we do that is we're considered non-captive. So to explain what that what non-captive is, let me explain what captive is. Have you guys heard of like Fidelity, Charles Schwab, Merrill Lynch? Pretty household names, right? Those companies are considered captive is because if you were to go sit down and work with them and they create a plan for you, that plan can only consist of products and services that that company has created in-house. That's why they're captive. So they only can give you what they have. Non-captive, we have access to the entire industry. Now we're fully non-captive in a sense. We don't own a product, we don't create a product. There's never a day where a client writes out a check and pays us directly. What we do is we sit down with individuals, families, business owners, and we do a needs analysis to figure out what do they need, what do they want to accomplish, what are their financial goals, and we have access to the entire industry. And now for me, when I have unlimited access, it puts me in the position I don't have to be company driven. I don't have to be product driven. I can actually for once be client driven and go out there and find the best of the best. And for me, if I'm gonna be in an industry where I'm helping people, I don't wanna half-ass it. I don't wanna be handcuffed. I wanna have full capacity to actually help somebody, because if that's my end goal, I wanna make sure the goal is the goal and it's met, right? Now, when we do sit down with somebody, we follow a very simple 6-step solution process, build a very simple foundation, and then we tailor the plan, and I wanna show you what that looks like. The first one, we help our clients increase cash flow, earn additional income, manage expenses. Step 2, manage debt, consolidate debt, strive to eliminate debt. I'll be the first to tell you we're not debt counselors, that's not what we do, but providing very simple strategies to help them eliminate debt, very helpful. Step 3, create an emergency fund, say at least a few months of income, God forbid something happens. And I think one of the crucial turning points is the emergency fund. I think a lot of people don't have that enough saved up. So if something were to happen and they needed $5,000, most people that I've learned, they go to their credit card and then they get back into debt. So step 3 is a crucial turning point. Step 4, ensure proper protection, protect against loss of income, protect family assets. Step 5, build long-term asset accumulation, outpace inflation, don't lose from compounding base. don't outlive your money, and of course, reduce taxation. And the final one, preserve your estate, help reduce estate taxes, and build a family legacy. Now, this is just a general overview of what we do and how we help people. Now, I want to actually get into specifics of exactly what we educate people on that separates us from every other company. Now, one of the biggest things that we talk about is why losses are so detrimental. Raise your hand in here if you like losing money. Not a single person. And I've never met anybody in my entire life that likes losing money. Yet there's a huge disconnect in our nation right now. This disconnect is the number one reason why we doubled in size last year, the number one reason why we're going to double in size again this year, and the number one reason why we're going to continue to double in size year after year. Hence, this is why you're here. Now, I want to talk about this disconnect. Everybody that I talk to, they don't like losing money. But yet 95% of the people that don't like losing money, every 2 weeks, money comes out of your paycheck and is deposited into an environment like a 401k where your money consistently experiences losses, right? Now, when you lose money in a 401k, it's not like a couple of $100s, it's a couple of thousands of dollars. That's a pretty big disconnect for somebody that says they don't like losing money, yet they've numbed to the fact, or maybe they ignore it, or they've come to the decision where they've realized, oh, that's just part of retirement. But that's a huge disconnect. And unfortunately, what we need to do is we need to educate people and let them know, look, if you're on your journey to retirement, obviously everybody here is, whether you understand or not, you are going to be on your journey unless you're going to get a big trust fund. You are. Now, if you're going to spend that journey in an environment where you continue to experience these losses, you're not going to retire. It's not going to happen in the fashion that you want it to. So a lot of people don't understand how the percentages work, and that's what we educate people on. So they have a really good foundation, and they can look at their own selves and their situation and say, hey, maybe I need to make some changes. Now, if you had $100,000 and you experience a 50% loss, a lot of my clients experience this in Sun City. 2008, pretty much 40 to 50%. When you take a loss like that, I think the first thought for most people, I have to make my money back. And most thought for most people is, I got to earn 50% just to get myself back up to $100,000. And I say, unfortunately, that's not how the percentages work in your favor. When you take a loss like this, you no longer have $100,000, you have $50,000. And if you were to experience a 50% return on that, it's only going to take you up to 75. Now, when my clients see this, they say, I totally understand what you're saying. What are you trying to teach me? This is the way you need to start thinking if you don't think this way already. And when you're saving for money in retirement, it's the losses that are the most important. It's the losses that have the highest priority. It's not the gains. The problem is most people are focused on the gains. Because I know this, because the first thing that most people say is, oh, what's my potential rate of return? How fast is my money growing? How much is my money growing? So much that totally ignore the losses. So I have to change people's perspective and their mindset as far as how they look at their retirement. It's the losses that are so more detrimental. Because when you take a loss like this, you'd have to earn 100% just to break even. This is where really it separates everybody. It's time. You can lose 50% in a day. This could take up to 10 years. That's the problem. Losses are a lot more powerful than gains. Now, when we understand that as a company, this is why we're growing fast, is because we provide the solution to help people preserve their money, protect their losses, and hedge against that. One of the fastest growing strategies right now, it's called index crediting. Obviously, it's growing fast because I think there's an unlimited growing population of people right now that have lost a lot of money. They're just sick and tired of uncertainty. And if you guys don't know what's going on with the market now, there is a lot of uncertainty right now, and we already know what the direction it's going to go. Now, with index crediting, I'm going to simplify it and show you how it works. The word index, that just refers to the indices in the market. You guys may have heard of NASDAQ, Dow Jones, S&P 500. That's what it's referring to. Now, with a program like this, there's a cap and then there's a floor. That 4%, totally conservative, hypothetical percentage, just so I can explain how it works. Now, if my clients, like at Sun City, for them, they have lump sums of money. They've been saving, they're in retirement, but they experience a lot of loss in 2008. So for them, they would come up to me and they say, hey, Matt, all I have left is $200,000-$300,000. I know this is probably not enough, but at least now my first priority, I can't lose anymore. What can you do for me? So for those specific clients, I'll take that lump sum of money and I'll transfer it into an index crediting account. Now my other clients, they don't have a lump sum. Maybe they lost it all, or maybe they're younger and now they're starting to save. So the only strategy that they have, just make monthly contributions. Now, it doesn't matter how somebody contributes. The only thing that really matters is all that money, it's not in the market. but it still has to grow. You still have to participate in compounding growth. And the way you do that is the money, it's linked to an index like the S&P 500. And it's also going to capture and participate in its growth. So let's say the market goes up 5-6%, your money's also going to grow, but it's going to grow and stop at the cap. So in this illustration, it's only going to stop at 4%. So even if the market goes up 8%, your money will grow, but it's going to stop at the cap. Now it's interesting when I say this because a lot of people, they don't like that because the first thing you're thinking about is the upside. That's why I know when people don't like this, they're focused on the upside because it's not about the upside. Now here's the trade-off. Just as fast as the market could go up, it can do what? Go down, right? Now when the market goes down, because you have a 0% floor, you don't participate in the loss. Interesting enough, even though I tell somebody they would not lose money when the market goes down, they still don't know if that's the true value because they're so focused on the upside. This is why we take through and we go through and we educate our clients so they understand what we're talking about. Now what I'm going to illustrate is over this 13-year period of time, what happened in the market. Now I want to show you is if you had $100,000, no additional contribution sitting in the market in your traditional 401k IRA, what's going to happen? And then if you had $100,000 in an index crediting strategy, just simply the difference of what your money would have done over this course of time. So from 1999 year 2000, the market went up nearly 7%. So you see the 401k hit about 106.9, index crediting hits that 4% cap, stops at 104, and then the following year the market slides a little bit, and now you can see how the 0% floor works. The balance in your account does not change, it stays exactly where it's at, and it's just waiting for the market to go back up. Unfortunately, end of 2000, 2001, we had something called the tech bubble. I don't know if you guys heard of that, and the market took a big plunge. Now we start to see how the 0% floor works. Maybe it's not about the upside. Maybe it is about the downside. Most people haven't come to the conclusion yet. Now, when we study the market, it's very cyclical. In a sense, anytime there's a bust, there's a boom. And during this time, this is when the real estate industry was going off, economy was good. Now, if your money was in the market during this course of time, you would have experienced some significant gains. And it's times like this where most people, their only experience in the market is during a time like this. So in their thought process, they think, oh my gosh, this is fantastic, right? Now with index crediting, no major gains, just that 4% plotting all the way through. And then of course 2008, I'm pretty sure everybody here recalls what happens or knows somebody who was affected by it. We took another plunge. This was more devastating because I don't care what anybody says, we have not recovered from this, not even close. And then soon after we saw some of the highest gains the market has ever seen. Now when we see this, these highest gains was not because of our economy, it's strictly because the feds, they pump in money into the market. They call it quantitative easing. They did that 4 times. Now we have been addicted to such cheap money, that's a problem. Because if we're gonna grow this economy, we have to raise the interest rates. We have to increase inflation. But the problem is we're so high and everybody's used to the cheap money that if that happens, this whole market could collapse. And the only reason we haven't seen anything significant is because we're not gonna do anything until we wait for the next president. That's it. But come November, mark my words guys, come November, you are gonna see this thing start rocking. And there's gonna be some major volatility because the only reason the market is up, it's for the wrong reason. The only reason the market goes up is because corporate profits, GDP, there's money being made. If you look at the last 3 quarters, corporate profits are down, corporate debt is up, global debt hit record highs, and GDP is down. But then we're hitting record highs in the market. Most people don't see the writing on the wall, and that's the problem. And my clients in index crediting, they don't have to worry. No emotion set. So it's really interesting the difference. Now, why are we growing so fast? It's very simple. Do I need a salesperson? Absolutely not. I can take any one of you and have you sit in front of a client and say, hey, Frank, now when it comes to retirement, I know you don't know too much, but when it comes to retirement, would you rather be in the red line or the green line? Was that hard? Do you think anybody would say the red line? Not a single person would say the red line. But the reality is, most people in here, most people that you know in your entire life are in the red line, not because you want to be, because you don't understand the green line exists. So why are we growing so fast? We get to be the first people in most people's lives to show them like, hey, I know you didn't know this, the green line exists, and let me show you how that works. Amazing. That's why I say we don't need salespeople. That's why I say teachers are some of the most phenomenal people in their industry because they're more genuine and they focus on educating people. And if you educate people right, they're going to want to move forward. And that's the basis of it. Now, interesting, I've got a lot of feedback. And I've had people that say, Well, index crediting beat the market because you started when the market was going down. That's the only reason why it's up. So on the next slide, with $100,000, we're going to start right here while the market's going up just to see what that looks like. Now, when we go from that vantage point, you're right, the market is outpacing index crediting, not by much, like $12,000, $13,000. Now, the percentage, the cap percentage that I'm illustrating here, it's 8.5%, as you can see right here. So it's an actual company that we work with. Now, that's fantastic. Upside of 8.5%, and you can't lose money, but still the market is outpacing index crediting. Now, I tell my people that say, look, if your strategy is a short-term strategy, you can definitely win in the market. You can make a lot of money. But when you think about short-term, is retirement short-term? It's not. Retirement is a long-term strategy. Your money's going to be sitting there most of the time for decades of time, 20, 30, 40 years. So over 20 to 30, 40 years, could it be possible that you guys experience a market correction? Could that be possible? Yes, most people don't know. Do you know we've had one every about 10 years? It's cycles, that's all we do. So we've already passed the 7-year mark, and it's due right now. Now, even with the market on top, if we relive 2008, it doesn't matter. That's why we need to change people's thought process. It's not about the gains on a long-term strategy. In a long-term strategy, it's all about the losses. And you can see here, I don't think anybody would be excited to lose 40, 50% of their money and say, hey, you know what, this happened to me when I was 60. And that's the problem. You just don't know when it's going to happen to you. Now, that's the number one thing that we educate people on, is we focus on helping them preserve their money and not lose it. We also have strategies to help people not outlive money, because we also have strategies to provide guaranteed lifetime income for them so they don't have to worry about things. Now, the final thing I want to talk about is the tax structures and how they work, because a lot of people don't understand how they could be affected by that in the long term. So we have a 401k here, IRA, 403bs, a lot of times allocated to teachers, nonprofit, 457, a lot of government workers, firefighters, and police officers and such. So here I'm illustrating a 35-year-old individual putting away $250 a month. That's $3,000 a year, just showing growth for 30 years. Now, if you guys already have a 401k, you kind of understand how it works. Now, if this individual made $50,000, that $3,000 annual contribution, it's pulled out of their paycheck and it's never been taxed. And it's automatically deposited into the 401k. Now, in the industry, we call that tax deferred. And what really breaks my heart is a lot of these other financial guys in the securities industry, they'll go in and they'll sell teachers these 403bs and 401ks and sell them on the fact that, oh, it's tax deferred. And the teachers don't understand. They're thinking, oh my gosh, I got a benefit like tax deferred. Well, it depends on how you look at it. Because when I say deferred, I don't mean never, I just mean later. So when that small amount of money grows into that large amount of money, you're ready to take that longest vacation of your life, called retirement, you pull that money out, it's 100% taxable, which I think most people know, but what most people do not know, that it's going to be taxed in that year's tax rate. So common sense says, if you're letting your money grow for 20 to 30 to 40 years, and you're going to pull it out 20 to 30 to 40 years in the future, do you think that tax rate's going to be lower or higher?
Higher.
I don't know. I would love to say higher, but I can't guarantee it, because there's still, at the end of the day, a possibility that it can be lower. I don't think it will be. Obviously, we can see the writing on the wall. I mean, they talk about taxes all day, and I say, you know what? Look at the nation's debt. In total unfunded liabilities, we're over $120 trillion in debt. That's a lot of money. And there's only two ways the government could eliminate that debt: stop spending money or raise taxes. And historically, they haven't been really good at stop spending money. So pretty good bet that taxes are going to have to go up. So that's why we talk about alternate ways that people can save money, maybe more advantage, tax advantage in a sense. So Roth IRA, a lot of people heard of. IUL stands for Index Universal Life. No, same example. The only difference is this: that $3,000 annual contribution, it's actually contributed with money it's already been taxed. So your employer pays you, you got money in your bank account, now you're making payments out of your bank account. The beautiful thing is, since you already paid taxes on it today, it grows tax-free. And in the future, it doesn't really matter what happens to the taxes, because you paid taxes 30 years ago. Interesting, two different strategies, but most people are devoting all of their investments, all of their money into another strategy where not only are they losing a lot of money, but they have a potential to pay a higher amount of taxes. So the only difference is just knowledge. Most people just don't understand that. Now, the final thing I want to end up with a client example. I love sharing this. It's out of our California office. The reason I like sharing this, because it worked a little bit differently than most appointments that I've had. So a married couple, husband and wife, came into our office out in California. They said, hey, look, I have a 401k with Fidelity. Fidelity said, when I retire, I'm going to get $2,000 a month in retirement. Hey, that's not enough for me. What can you do? So we absolutely take on the challenge. The first thing that we do, we just take financial inventory. We look at what's going out, what's coming in. So after all the income, they had about $9 left over. So that's a problem. He didn't have a surplus. He didn't have enough money left over to save more, because that's what's going to require of him to get more in retirement. Now, usually with most clients, it's very simple. We say, hey, you know what? Let's work together to reduce spending, right? So you can save more. And most clients are like excited. They're like, wow, you actually will help me do that. The reason why I like sharing this story is the husband and wife said no. They didn't want to change their lifestyle. They didn't want to stop spending what they do. They didn't want to change anything. Well, unfortunately, guys, I'm sorry, but we're not magicians. We can't turn $9 into a retirement fund. So it kind of forced us to get us in a position where we had to look at the money in a different perspective. So one thing that really stood out, he had a 401k. He was contributing 6%. Awesome. Most people, they're not even savers. They only contribute 1 to 2%. So that's harder to get someone to save. He already saw the value of saving. Awesome. But the only problem is he was getting a dollar for dollar match only up to 3%. So anything above 3%, he was kind of throwing money in the bucket. So we asked him, hey, would you be open to looking at a plan where we reduce it from 6% to 3%, which he said, yeah, let's take a look at that. The life insurance, he had something called term insurance. It's just insurance with an expiration date, has a place in the market, but should not have been sold as family. He was only 40 years old, and it was going to expire when he's 55. What he didn't know, he thought at 55, he just had to stop contributing. But at 55, what happens is that term expires, he has to renew it. He did not know that. Very upsetting. So when you renew a term policy and you're older, automatically it's going to be more expensive, but that's not the bigger the problem. The bigger problem is from age 40 to 55, during the term, if he gets diagnosed with a sickness or illness and it expires, he will never be able to renew. That's the problem, and that's the risk. So when he understood that he wanted something more permanent for the rest of his life, we said we'd take a look at that. So $3,400 in tax refunds pretty consistently year over year with the last 5 years. Obviously, we know how that works. We give the government, imagine that, you give the government money for 12 months and then they just give it back to you at the end of the year with nothing extra. And people get really excited about it. I got my tax refund. So we told them, hey, look, instead of allocating all that money to a government that's not going to pay you back, why don't you just give them what's owed at the end of the year and take that extra money and direct it into an environment where you're actually earning interest. And I think most clients, when they look at that, they say, I didn't even know we can do that. So this is what we did for the client. So we say, hey, keep the 401k because you get the match, but drop it down to 3%. So instead of contributing $430, now you're contributing $215. And that life insurance with an expiration date, that $150, we just transfer that into an IUL. IUL stands for Index Universal Life, and it is a permanent form of insurance. That was just a transfer right over here. That $3,400 a year is about $283 a month. He was overpaying taxes, so he made some tax withholdings. We went from $9 to $507. Now this is why I love being non-captive, because I can take a look at that and literally do some homework and shop the entire industry. And for me, I'm always going to go for the top, the cream of the crop, the best, the A-rated companies. Now this is a company, LSW, one of the top. Based on what they wanted for their family, it was a perfect match. So LSW Flex Life IUL, the face amount that he was initially approved for was $216,000. And the summary of values that we're showing here is when he retires at 65, because that was the age that he wanted to retire. You can retire whatever age you want to. Now we did a projection, all of that money that's growing inside of there, the reason why it grows fast is because the money grows with index crediting. So it's never losing money, it's always growing fast. So we did a projection at age 65, he can pull over $80,000 out of that account. And if he did that for 20 years, he would have pulled out 1.6 over that course of time. The beautiful thing is, when he pulls that out, it's 100% tax-free. Amazing. Now, life happens though. What if at 65 he passed away? He had a wife and 2 kids. If he passed away at 65, instead of $216,000, now over $730,000 paid out to his wife and kids. Here's the best part. She does not have to report that on her taxes. She does not have to pay income tax on it. Amazing. That's the true value right there. Now, as you know, life happens, and one of the rising reasons why people can't retire is actually because of an illness. And you know, obviously, if they have a 401k IRA or something like that, they reach in, pull their money out, there might be penalties and then taxes that they're going to pay. So they might cure themselves, but then they're not going to retire. So you really limit the amount of money that's left over. And here, this is why we have living benefits. So if you went to the doctor and the doctor said, hey, you got about a year to 2 to live, he could immediately pull over $619,000 penalty tax-free. Take that money and go to his wife and say, hey, my last 2 years here, honey, we're gonna make some memories, or go pay for experimental treatment. But you can do whatever you want with it. Chronic illness, if he needs to hire a nurse or go to a nursing home, $10,000 per month. Critical illness, cancer, ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, over $583,000. But to me, this in itself is truly amazing, because those little 401k accounts don't have any additional benefits besides help you lose money. And if we talk about the fees that you're paying in those 401ks, I just don't understand why they even exist. But at the end of the day, guys, we could probably go through so many different scenarios that you'll truly understand the true value of what we do and why we're growing so fast. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to planning. Most people, most of my clients, have never just gotten a plan just to see like where are they at, where they could be. They've never even just looked at that. And with this client, if they had that attitude and he just said, let's just look at it later, and he just kept his 401k, we did a projection, very conservative. He can grow a little over $500,000, but fully taxable. Now, if the market never crashes from 40 to 65, which is unrealistic, you get about $2,000 a month. But if the market does have a little hiccup, he's out of the game completely. Now, we allocated some money into the IUL, where this money grows with index crediting. So if the market crashes, he does not lose a penny. He can pull 100% of this money out tax-free. We told him to keep the 401k, a little over $300,000. Again, fully taxable. Now, if the market crashes, he will lose from here. But look at the difference. Again, this is why I don't need salespeople. I just need people that really genuinely want to help people. Because again, I could take any one of you and have you sit in front of a client. Hey, Frank, now when it comes to retirement, do you think this one would be better for you and your family, or this one? What do you think? Right. Do you think I would have to pull teeth for that? Absolutely not. Literally, most appointments are that dramatic of a difference. Questions a little bit later. That big of a difference. But I think what really comes down to is our no pressure approach. So we're required, every single agent is required when we go out and sit with a client, hey, at no point today are we here to do any kind of business. We want to make people understand, like, we're not here to do the business on the first time. Our first goal is to educate people, right? Because once they're educated, then they can actually make some decisions. So what we'll do is we'll go through the entire presentation, we'll collect some basic information, and then during that week, we'll do some homework and we'll shop the entire industry. We'll look at different scenarios. We'll go find a company that can actually help them. And about a week later, we come back and we show them the plan. And we show them the plan, we go through some everything, old way versus new way. We go through all the different scenarios. And now people get a better sense of what we do, and they can actually make a decision in that matter. Now, pretty easy, right? Anybody feel like you couldn't do that? Maybe later we can talk about it. But that's one of the biggest reasons why we're growing so fast. And like I said, I've had guys from this car dealership. There's so many car dealerships over here. I guess through rumors or something, they heard about some of the cash flows some of our agents are making. So they came over here because obviously they want to make more money. And I had one of them, they say, Matt, I'm going to be your #1 guy. I have 15 years in sales and I'm a go-getter and all this stuff. And his approach was trying to sell the client. And I told him, I said, that's not going to work because that's not what's needed here. Most people are smart. Most people can make logical decisions. But if they don't know that there's a decision that they can make, they're not going to make it. So our goal here is not to sell. Our goal is here just to educate people. And I swear, going through these slides, especially the index crediting one, I don't know how many times just by that slide, people are already just starting to talk. Hey, oh my gosh, is there any way we can pull our 401k? Move my 401k. I had this one lady actually, one time she said, Matt, I just want to let you know, I'm really interested in seeing what you do, but I'm going to let you know right now, I'm not going to touch any of my money, I'm not going to do anything. I just want to let you know. I said, oh, no problem. Just out of curiosity, though, what do you have? I have 3 401ks. I said, fantastic. I'm glad that you actually saved. That's really good. So she said, I just want to, I'm not going to do anything. I just want to learn some things. No problem. So we're going through the presentation and the index crediting when I'm doing the red line and green line. I swear she almost had a heart attack. She was like, we need to move my money right now. All 3 of them. Like, is there anything we can do? Like, I was like, wait, hold on. We don't do business on the first, but I could collect some information and look at that for you. But it's just interesting, and that's why, like, salespeople, yeah, if you have a sales background, it helps, because maybe you have a really good communication skills, but you're not in a position where you have to, like, pull their arm like, come on, you got to do this, right? It's really like the feelings that I get with a lot of my clients. It's like, when can we get started? Like, when can we? And I've been in a lot of different environments, sales environments, marketing environments. And usually I've had to like convince people to do that stuff. So at the end of the day, we don't do this for free. Obviously we have to make a living off of it. And nobody better than to go over that than our SVP and talk about how to be successful in this kind of business and what we do specifically.
Matt,
Sounds
thank you.
good. Cool.
Appreciate you, brother. Doesn't Matt do a great job, you guys? Round of applause for this man, please. Yeah. All right, I love that. Old way versus new way. We end every client meeting with an old way versus new way. The way that you succeed in business in any kind is to help a rational human being, which is typically going to be adult if you're doing any type of business, come to a good decision, right? And actually help the person, right? I just want you guys to know that nobody around here typically, maybe 1 out of 10 maybe, has a background in financial services, right? We didn't do a finance degree check at the door, did we? Right? We didn't even do a degree check at the door, right? You know why? I have a master's degree, for example. Matt has an MBA also. We don't even hang our diplomas on the wall because we don't want people thinking that you have to have one of those pieces of paper to be successful around here, because you don't. The only thing that somebody has to be able to have around here is some common sense, which sometimes isn't too common, right? And the ability to want to help somebody. The ability to want to help somebody change their scenario. Do you guys know how many people every single day retire in the United States? There's around 10,000 people a day that retire in the United States. It's an overwhelming amount of people. And that's public record. Somebody's Googled something and they found like 15,000 a day, but I couldn't verify the source, right? But sourced, public record, 10,000 plus a day. That's a lot of people. Do you know in a short period of time, millions of people are retiring? And the overwhelming majority of people who do, within a few years, broke, a little social security maybe, right? And I know a lot of exceptions to that rule. I'm not talking about those exceptions. There's a lot of exceptions on these crossroads, right? But if you look at the masses around the United States, that's what's going on. That just showed you guys the 3 reasons why. If somebody loses money, they are going to lose time, okay? And then if they get hosed on taxes, this is the result that somebody might have. If somebody doesn't lose money, doesn't lose time, and then it's tax-free, you might have a result like this. Expired death benefit, retained death benefit. It's common sense, easy. What we do is not like rocket science, right? It's very easy, right? Okay, so let's talk about the business side of what we do. I was actually a client with our company before I ever looked at the business side. I used to think, man, me and financial services are like this. Like, what does that have to do with me, right? But before I was in this industry, I was pretty ignorant. And not like derogatory ignorance, I was uneducated to this environment. So what did I do? What most humans do is make assumptions to make themselves feel good about it, right? So I made assumptions about this industry, and my assumption was this industry was a bunch of people managing other people's money, right? And like, for example, a couple of weeks ago, I moved a little over $1 million out of Charles Schwab for a client, and he's a VP of a bank. And we went from, in layman's terms, a very high fee red line into a 0 fee green line, okay, in layman's terms. So, and we did that, and he crossed all his T's and dotted. I didn't do that with him because what we do is, it's real what we're doing. And those companies that are managing the index crediting, where somebody doesn't lose money with caps much higher than what Matt showed you, those companies have been around longer than most companies ever. Some of those companies have been around longer than this country. Those are the most financially solvent companies on planet Earth. One of those companies alone are worth more than every single bank around you that you see combined in liquid asset, right? That's how they develop a contract that guarantees somebody to not lose money. I mean, it's the closest thing. I'd rather have my money with one of those companies than the United States government, right? If you look at balance sheets, you follow me? Anyways, that's a matter of opinion at this point. Here's what I'm telling you. I used to think that if I was gonna sit down with a person, like the VP of the bank, and then do a plan for him, I used to think back when I didn't know anything about what this industry really was, that I was going to have to sit down with him and do some asset allocation, right? Which basically means move his money into a bunch of mutual funds and do some, have a cute pie of percentages and put it all in the captive company that I work in that requires me to put it in the red line, because the way that they get paid over there is they have their teeth sunk into it like vampires, and they're sucking out fees out of that account. Whether the market goes up or down, they're taking the fees out, right? I used to think that that's what I would have to do in any type of financial services, right? That's what I used to think this industry was. But the last industry that Matt and I were in was in higher education. And you know what they used to we used to tout over there? Is knowledge is power. And that's crap. If it's not the right knowledge. The right knowledge is power. Right? And if you don't know better, you can't do better. Right? So I remember when I was a client for the first time, and that just made a whole lot of sense to me. And then I made a decision, instead of being in education and putting people in five-figure debts, multiple five-figure debts to get a piece of paper that ain't going to guarantee them anything, that I can educate people in a way to where they're saving it and growing it instead of spending it with risk. Do you follow me? That's what was going through my mind when I had my plan done. So I started to look at the business side for so many reasons that I'm going to go through a couple of them with you. So our second passion, helping people build strong, enduring businesses. Okay, so to create a quality opportunity, you got to have these things. Dramatic market needs, simple, effective business system, powerful comp, timing, integrity, clear management philosophy, capacity to do what's right long term. I was a client with our company first. I remember when I moved to the United States, it was 15 years ago, from Arabia, believe it or not. Arabic is my first language. But I moved here, and I didn't come over here to mess around, right? I came over here, education and opportunity, right? It's the main reason why everybody migrated to this country, right? We're a melting pot over here. So I tapped out the first one, so I want to tap out the second one. But I studied a lot of people that were successful, not just financially, but in all areas of their life, right? And everybody says, man, you got to have a business that has a large need, a needs business, right? And food and shelter are good examples of that. But those are very, very saturated businesses. I feel like our business trumps a needs business, if you want the truth, because I see it as a requirement business. I've had the blessing to be able to travel to many different countries at a young age, and I feel like it shaped me in a certain way, and I feel blessed that was the case. And I would imagine any country that we all go to, and we can talk to any human being on planet Earth, which are 7 to 8 billion of them, us, and in their native tongue, and whoever you talk to, if you tell somebody, man, at one point or another in your life, would you like to stop working, stop efforting in your life, and be able to still have a monetary gain of some kind, would you like that for yourself? I would imagine everybody's going to say yes to that. I've sat down with some people that have said, man, I'm never going to retire, I'm going to work forever. That doesn't work out too well if the person gets into an accident. That doesn't work out too well if the person develops an illness, right? Because the accident and the illness are both unexpected things. And if that person cannot get up to go effort to go make their money, they ain't going to make any. And they're going to be financially destitute for the rest of their life. And there's a good chance that family around them might be also, if they are relied on that way, right? In my opinion, it trumps a needs business. It's a requirement business. Now, I remember when my plan was put together, and it was put together by a guy that I worked with. Matt and I worked at University of Phoenix as managers together. There was a manager over there named Brig. And this dude, he's like the sweetest guy I've ever met in my life. I mean, he's like projects kindness, just like a really good guy. Like it's you get around somebody where their energy is really good, you know what I'm saying? And he's that guy, right? He actually owns the other office that we have in Arizona here. But anyways, this was back when we were in our corporate deal. And he's like, Sammy, why don't I show you a couple of things? Because we're talking about our 401k at the office and blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, cool, man, let's do it. He comes over to show me what he's going to show me. I thought he was going to sell me something. And then he didn't in that first meeting, which kind of impressed me. And he showed me the slides that Matt just showed you, because that's our client presentation, literally. But let's just face it, that stuff sells itself, doesn't it? Sure. So he clicked those slides that Matt just went through. And I'd never seen index crediting and the tax-free, and I just knew that there had to be a better way somehow because, anyways. He went through it, and I'm like a tough person in my head to impress, and he blew me out of the water when he came back on that second meeting and showed me my old way versus new way. I'm like, oh yeah, for sure. And all I could think about was the business side, right? And I'm like, man, this guy is a musician. He used to be in a rock band, this man, right? This is a guy that at the office we have to do spreadsheets, right, with our students and their step conversions and marketing and business analysis, and we're putting Excel sheets together. He would never know how to put the numbers right together. He's like not a numbers guy at all. He's a creative guy. He was in a band. He's a musician. He's a singer. He would always sing the national anthem. This is the dude that would always come in with the guitar singing the happy birthdays at the potlucks at the office. This is the guy where he worked over at the airline for a little bit. He's a handyman. He's a carpenter. The man's got 7 kids, and if you walk into his house, He literally built the bunk beds with his hands. Like he's a worked with his hands kind of guy. Have you guys ever been to a romantic Italian restaurant dinner? Have you guys, where there's a gondola ride around the lake? Okay. And at the very back of that gondola ride, there's a gondolier person singing Italian opera. He was that dude at one point, right? He was an advisor and then a manager over at University of Phoenix. Here's what was going through my head, you guys. He was all of these things except for some financial advising, planning person, right? And I was like, man, this is a guy who's a full-time manager. Anybody ever management in corporate America? You're working over 40 hours a week if you're doing a good job, right? Over 40 hours a week. He's a man of faith, so he's dedicated with his church on Sundays. He is a person that is a good father, and he's always involved in the community with his kids and all these things, and he has quite a few of them. And he has all these things going on, and then he needs to spend time with his wife and date night and all of it. And I'm like, to get a guy like that, to put a plan like that together with his side gig that he's been doing for a few months, I immediately knew that this had to be true. There was a system of training that was so simple and effective to get a guy like that to be able to do that, right? But I'm not naive. Like, I got to talking to the majority of you, and I don't think anybody in here is naive, right? We're all adults in the room. And we know that if you're going to open a business and stay in business, you have to have this, an element of this, and this. That's the reality of it, right? You know what I found the toughest thing to accomplish is this. This is the toughest thing to accomplish. Whether you're an employee with an employer, or it's very tough to accomplish it that way. Whether you're self-employed, whether you're a business owner, whatever. This is the toughest thing to accomplish. I mean in full capacity. Not my old, hey Sammy, you're worth $103,000, dude. That's how much you're worth, right? Not 100 grand a year, 200 grand a year hamster wheels. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about full capacity compensation that is absolutely unlimited. Unlimited, blow the roof off. We had music playing downstairs. We should have had the Roof is on Fire song playing downstairs because there is no roof and it's blown out completely type of compensation. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I mean by full capacity compensation, right? I just want you guys to know that it's full capacity compensation here, right? 88%, 99%, that doesn't cut it. Try going over to the dollar store with 99 cents. That ain't gonna cut it, right? Full capacity requires it to be 100%. That's what we have here. I just want you guys to know that this industry, and it's not my opinion, it's just a fact, is the highest compensated industry on planet Earth. Think about that. Highest compensated industry on the planet. We are one of the highest compensated companies inside of that industry, inside of the most powerful country on the planet. Right? Full capacity. Okay? And I just want to make something else clear as well. And it took me too long to realize it. That just because somebody's working in financial services, it doesn't grant them what I'm talking to you about in terms of compensation. Matt works in our company for just a little bit, then goes full-time, becomes a VP. And about a couple of years later, he made over $50,000 into his checking account last month. Right? That used to be his old annual income. Right? I used to have an annual income like that. Unreasonable. Just working in this industry doesn't grant a person that kind of comp. I just want to make that clear. And it took me a while to realize it. I used to see somebody that was in financial services, and they did insurance and retirement planning and 401k transfers and retirement plans, right? Benefits, maybe added some insurance to it, whatever. And I said, oh man, they do what we do. Oh, no, that's not true. That's not true. It seems that way when a person doesn't know better and doesn't have the right knowledge. It seems that way. But it's not true, right? And it took me too long to realize it. And if you choose to resonate with what I'm telling you, you could learn that in a very short period of time. I'll give you an example. I fielded a phone call from this guy in April, right? He found me on LinkedIn. He's a regional vice president of a financial services company that does insurance, retirement planning, 401ks. He even has access to the index crediting we just went through, and all of these things, right? In my head, in the past, I used to think, oh man, they do what we do. Right? This guy calls me in April. He's like, dude, you're on LinkedIn. You're a senior VP in the company. And by the way, titles don't mean anything around here. It's just a contract level. You're a senior VP. You've been in this industry for like 5 minutes. We could use a guy like you in our company. Plus, you have leadership experience, whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'll let him talk. Whatever. I'm open. I can tell somebody no if it's a no. So I let him talk. So, anyways, I get in the conversation. I say, okay, cool, man. What do you make over there? And he said, I'm at 100% contract, is what he told me. So I said, okay, cool, I'm at 100% contract too, right? My 100%, a VP over here is at 100% contract, and my contract here means that I own it. I own the branch of the company that way. and I can get an outside valuation on it and then sell it and walk away if I chose to. That's the kind of ownership we have here in our 100%. I don't know if that was the same ownership that he had, but I didn't even ask him, because what I really wanted to know was how much money did he make. So I said, hey dude, how much cash did you make? That's what I really want to know. What did you make last year? That's kind of the scoreboard, right? So you know what he told me? 108,000. It was actually 107, he said. A little under 108. And that was just so painful to hear it, right? But it was perfect timing for me, because the month before in March I was having a kick-ass income month like Matt had last month. And I made $54,000. I have a plaque in my office that congratulates me for having it, right? And I made that the month before. And I said, hey brother, last month I made half of what you made last year. And I've been in this industry about 5 minutes compared to you. He's been an RVP, right? For 17 years he's been in the industry. I said, last month I made half of what you made last year. And I'm not telling you this to be boastful. I'm telling you this to help you understand that being in this industry isn't going to grant somebody what I'm telling you. And that was a good example of it. And when I told him that, I can't tell you the stuttering and how quick he got off the phone with me, right? But it made me realize that just being in this industry doesn't grant somebody the ability to get compensated this way. It doesn't, right? There's a lot more facets to it. And I'm going to go through a couple of them with you. So, good timing. Daniel was downstairs and he said, man, could you imagine? I got you, my girlfriend went to Starbucks and then poured me some of it in here. Chili mixed in with mocha. I was like, what kind of combo is that? It actually tastes pretty good. A chili mocha, I'm like, a little spice in there too. That's fantastic. Okay. Timing. Daniel was talking about, could you imagine being at the beginning of Walmart and McDonald's and all of it? Timing is huge in business. Now, in my opinion, there's no bad timing to be in the highest compensated industry on the planet, in a company that's being one of the highest compensated in the United States of America. I don't think that's ever bad timing. Bad timing, in my opinion, in this industry is being a money manager. Like what I used to think that this was, in general, just the whole industry, is being a money manager. And then the United Kingdom breaks off the European Union, and then you gotta field a phone call. Hey man, why did my account go down $30,000? Man, I don't know, I don't control that stuff, right? I don't know, I don't wanna field those phone calls or feed people a bunch of crap, right? I don't wanna do that. I have a son at home, and when he asks me, and then now I'm mixing in integrity a little bit, when he asks me, do you do a good job for people? I have to be able to look into his eyes and say, yes, buddy, I do a great job for people. Because I put them in a place where they never lose money and they're only going to grow. Backed by a contract by the most powerful companies financially on planet Earth. That's the closest thing to a darn guarantee on the guarantee. The only way that money's going to go away is if, like, have you guys seen, like, the Day After Tomorrow movie? If that happens, right? You know what I'm saying? That's the closest darn thing to it always being there for people, doing a great job for people, right? So, in my opinion, what's bad timing is being that darn money manager and the market going down, or having a little bit of a hiccup and having to, go through after the Brexit. You guys remember the Brexit? I saw this financial advisor rented one of our conference rooms, and he was in there with his clients, and the guy was like sweating, right? Going through the statement, like, I don't want to be that guy. Right? You know, when the Brexit happened, I started collecting all these emails. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy we moved the money in time. This is fantastic. Man, you got to go see my cousin. All that stuff. That's what I get when the market crashes. Is thank yous, right? That's something that we can work with, right? That's the only bad timing in this industry, in my opinion, is if you're the wrong company doing the wrong things. So what makes it even better timing is when you're serving a generation of people that are guaranteed to explode the company or the industry that is focusing on it. And what I'm talking about is the baby boomer generation. Now get this, Matt just showed you guys an example of new savings, right? He showed you that move their finances, and then they use an IUL. New savings. You guys, there's two things that we do here. This is how simple this is. New savings, Matt showed you guys an example of a vehicle that can get somebody to a better place. And then money transfers, like the Charles Schwab example I was talking about. New savings, money transfers. That's it, right? So get this. He showed you an example of somebody that is not retired that's going to save for retirement. What I'm about to tell you is specifically for people that are in retirement. Right? Get this, you guys. I'm talking about the baby boomer generation born between 1946 and 1964. Okay? Matt hasn't even talked to you about what I'm about to talk to you about, and this is where the opportunity is. Half of my clients are already retired, by the way, right? That I sit down with. Because when that person retires, they can't mess around, right? They can't lose money in the market. It's going to derail their whole situation, income in their future. 80 million born, 20 million migrated. Stick with me on this one, right? 100 million baby boomers, right? Most powerful generation, period. They're the ones that have created a lot of the things that we see around us, right? These baby boomers, and I'm not going to go through the 2-hour training that I did on a Saturday before where I talk about the timeline and how Gerber baby food exploded because of them, how Ford Mustang was created and exploded in the muscle car era was because of this generation, how Chrysler was going to go bankrupt, and if they didn't get Lee Iacocca, who created the Ford Mustang, to come aboard and change the game and create that Caravan minivan, the one with the door sliding like this and the 2 buckets like this, that they would have been bankrupt, and if they didn't focus on that baby boomer generation. I'm not going to go through all of that stuff. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Do you remember how many people are retiring every single day? What generation do you think that is? Baby boomers, right? There's something called the Great Wealth Transfer that is happening right now. That is only going to be happening for a 15-year window is what they're projecting. It's called the Great Wealth Transfer. You know what that means? There's more money that is going to transferring hands, than any other time on planet Earth's history. Think about that. There is more money that is going to transfer hands than has ever transferred hands on planet Earth's history. That's a pretty big deal. I don't know if that's a big deal to you or not, or maybe, you know, you're still numb from last night, but that's a big deal. That is a huge deal. $5 trillion a year transferring hands. January to December, 5 trillion, 2016. 17, 5 trillion, 18, 5 trillion, 19, 5 trillion, 5, all the way through for the next 15 years. Now get this. When somebody retires and now you know how many a day do, that person, their savings has gone to its absolute peak. Now it's time to retire. Transfer that money from whatever environment it's in into a new environment that they can plan their income around. Hence, great wealth transfer. We do new savings and money transfers, okay? High fee red line, 0 fee green line, okay? I don't know about you guys, but I'm not missing it. I don't care about if anybody downstairs does it, anybody up here does. I'm not missing it. Wells Fargo Investment Advisory across the street, they're not missing it. Merrill Lynch across the street, they're not missing it. Vanguard, Fidelity, all of them, nobody's going to miss it, right? But here's what I do know. If we could help 0.0, we have a crusade over here, by the way, of changing that statistic of people being broke and unprepared in their future. That's our crusade, right? Is to change the statistic a little bit and make a difference for people. But if we could help 0.00001% of the population put their money into a safer place, and you saw what that could do over multiple decades probably, we will save people millions and millions and millions of dollars over the long run, right? We will earn millions and millions of dollars in the process of helping people save that, right? So what makes it even better timing? Highest compensated industry on the planet, one of the highest compensated companies inside of that industry, the most successful country on the planet financially, serving a generation of people that is guaranteed to explode what has already exploded. That's what makes it, this is what gets me jacked up in the morning, right? I'm jacked up in the afternoon, I'm jacked up in the evening, because I ain't missing it, right? You guys, integrity is wrapped into everything that we do here, right? I'm on this first slide because it's very important. All these things are very important. I'm not just going to jam through points with you. Integrity is huge. It's wrapped into everything that we do. Our company is structured on integrity. Please understand this, okay? Structured on integrity. Being non-captive is integrity. We don't have an Opus financial solution product. And if we did, I wouldn't be standing in front of you, right? Because there's no integrity behind shoving people into your company's product. When it comes to a topic this important, right? That's integrity in itself. Index crediting as a strategy for somebody, integrity. Putting them in a position where they don't lose money. That is integrity. Not doing business on the first meeting with somebody, so you can go out and engineer a plan that is going to give them the absolute best case scenario in the new way, is integrity. Right? Some people ask me, well, what does that look like on the business side? Right? Well, if we end up doing and working together, the person finds out pretty quickly. But here's an example of it. Matt, why didn't I say, hey dude, why don't you quit your $75,000 a year job that's easy to replace here in terms of income and come aboard full-time when I was full-time? Why didn't I do that? Well, integrity. I care about Matt, first of all. And then I care about people, second of all. And he's going to be sitting down with people, right? And I can't say, hey dude, put a suit on, that's our uniform. And then I have a 3 o'clock for you, a 6 o'clock, a 9 o'clock, whatever. This is the business owner, this is the family, this is the person, this is what's up. Can you go help these people? And then Matt sits down in that meeting stressed out because he's brand new. And then also all he can think about is his monthly nut of expenses, his mortgages and his insurance and his all he can think about is money and income, right? That's not good. Because the only place somebody's mind should be is on helping that person. And if that person's mind goes off of it, that's not good. That's out of line with this. Our compensation is so good here that if a person can't just do the right thing for a person and be okay with the comp on the back end of it, they don't belong here and they probably don't belong anywhere else. This is why people start part-time here first, usually, right? So they can get acclimated with that. But that's integrity. That's the threading that keeps it all together, right? This is why we're all still wearing clothes right now, right? It's the threading that keeps it all together instead of it all coming apart, right? That's huge. I just want you guys to know we don't mess with that, right? All right. For me, that was very important. System, very, very important. And I'm not going to go through these points. Okay, uncomplicated, duplication, repetition, proven effective, simplicity, mentorship, success stories. We're all adults here. Everybody here has probably worked in a job before, right? And if you've ever worked in that job that had training, right? And you were done with your 2-week training, and then you did the job and it was satisfactory, but you had a mentor or a leader show you how to do it. And then at the very end of that 2-3 week period, you could disseminate a story about that process, then you might have hit these points. I mean, my gosh, right? Here's what I'm going to tell you about this. Talk to any successful business owner, not self-employed person, and not any business owner. I said successful because most business owners aren't. Okay, most business owners are broke. 50% of business owners in the United States made less than $25,000. Okay, so you don't talk to any business person. But if you talk to a successful business person, what they're going to tell you is that system is one of the most important things in any business. Outside of some of the non-negotiables we talked about, get this: there's input and then there's output in anything that we do that's important. Relationships, business, family, all of it, right? The most important thing is throughput, which is consistency, right? A system of consistency that can give you a result over a period of time. Matt made over 50 grand last month. I'm personally not interested in hearing any of that. And I would, in my head, think that that's crap. I don't care if there's not a system that is going to allow him to continue to do it over and over and over, right? System. I'm here to tell you guys, our system here is 100% guaranteed to work. Our system here, it's guaranteed to work. Okay. Some of you might be a little confused when I tell you that, but it is guaranteed. This isn't a scenario where the person comes in and they're like, oh, well, let me see, let me find out. This is guaranteed to work here, right? I don't know where their mindset was off of something or something else. I don't know what, but that's not this. This is guaranteed to work. If you're going to go from here to Los Angeles, what road do you take? It's not a trick question.
The 10.
Do you take the 10? What's that? Bigger opening. Okay. 10 West, right? So if you take the 10 West and you just keep riding the 10 West, you're imminently going to end up in Los Angeles, assuming that, no vehicle issues and the bridge doesn't break from underneath you like a year ago, and it's all gravy, right? You're going to get there. You know what I'm saying? Now, how does somebody get onto the 10 West and not get there? Right? They get onto the I-10 West, okay? They drive for an hour, drive for an hour and a half, okay? 2 hours, and then they start getting a little finicky, right? Get a little shaky. I don't see Los Angeles yet. This road doesn't work. Now, think of a person that delusional in their brain. And they actually believe that what they're telling themselves is true. They believe that that's true. Because according to psychology, and I'm not going to go there, this might distract all of you, the human brain can't tell the difference between a truth and a lie anyway. According to psychology. My mom's a master of counseling. Anyways, if that person's so delusional that they believe that that's true, what are they going to do? They're going to stop, right? And what are they going to do? Make a living in Blythe? or quartzite or something. No, they're going to turn around. They're going to go back, right? Professionally, I'm not going to say personally. Professionally means going back to, unfortunately, not winning in business. And the antithesis of not winning in business means losing, right? That means going back to unsatisfied. That means going back to not driving the car that they wanted to drive and living in the house that they wanted to live in. That means going back to not being able to be decision rich, right? Not being able to make their own decisions. That means going back to not traveling the world. My gosh, there's 190 plus countries. I haven't seen half of them or a handful of them. That means going back to not investing in the businesses that they wish they could invest in, because if they did, they could make a big difference that way. Or opening the nonprofit that they would like to. That's what going back means, right? Going back to being a slave, basically. This is the land of the free and the home of the brave, man. I've never seen so many slaves in my life.
Ooh.
I'm serious.
Great.
And when I talk about being free and that kind of thing, I made a decision, you guys, that I was going to be rich when I moved here. And I don't mean the greedy kind of rich, like just rich in my pockets and all I care about is money. Not that kind of rich. Rich here, rich in my ability to give, but more importantly than anything else, rich in my decision-making ability. And I didn't write the rule book of this economic climate that we live in that says if you want to be able to make your own decisions, you have to have money. I didn't write the rule book on that. But that's the game that we're in, so to speak. But if that person, depending on their driving style, depending on their vehicle, they just kept on driving, between 5 and 10 hours, whatever, they'll imminently end up in Los Angeles, right? My Los Angeles here, you guys, is $1 million cash in 3 years. That's my Los Angeles. Los Angeles. Some people's is $2,000-$3,000 a month, and that's cool too, right? That's okay. Not everybody has to have goals. I gave you a number that's a little above average in a short period of time. Some of you might be thinking, man, this foreigner's crazy. This guy's jacked up, or too good to be true, or blah, 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 right? That's what one might think, maybe, right? Here's what I'm going to tell you about this. Do you want to know the catch to all of this? Here's the catch to all of this. This is guaranteed to work. That is 100% true, right? 100% true. That is guaranteed to work. Okay. So here's the catch, is it doesn't work on me. I work on it. That is perfect. The only thing that's not is me. Follow me? This isn't a scenario where somebody comes downstairs for a training and says, oh my God, when's $50,000 going to direct deposit for me? Delusional. That isn't going to happen. This doesn't just work on me, right? The person comes in and they work on it because this is perfect. People are imperfect, right? That's the catch around here. The person's got to drive and do something, right? This is guaranteed to work. Some of you guys got here by yourselves and arrived here and parked and all of this stuff. And by the way, if you parked in the visitors parking, we'll get you validated on the way out. You probably had your phone, right? And used what? GPS? What does the S stand for on GPS? System. Oh my gosh, well, think of that, right? System. Now get this one. What if the system was telling me to turn right? And then I look at it and I say, oh my God, this can't be true. I used to be a director and I used to make $100,000 a year. I'm going to turn left, right? Like a delusional degenerate, right? I'm not going to arrive where I need to arrive. Do you follow me? Right? The system is going to perfectly place you accordingly where you want to get to and how you're going to get there. The only thing that can screw that up is a person. That's the catch. Does that make sense? This is 100% guaranteed to work. Okay, I digress. Most important thing. Have you guys ever read Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Good one, right? Robert Kiyosaki, right? Absolute stud, United States Marine War veteran, went from homeless to millionaire in 3 years. Okay. He says people on this left side are usually broke, and then people on the right side have a chance. I'm going to jam through this for the time's sake. Most are broke because of the structure. Okay, people trade hours for dollars, right? And then the employer tells you what you're worth. And then the government's going to come in and take taxes, and you live on what's left over. So we want to be self-employed. They're a one-person band. They're their own real estate agent, their own landscaper, their own designer, their own whatever, right? One accident away from financial devastation over here. The biggest delusion that I see is a self-employed person under the impression that they're a business owner. Not a business owner, right? Because if they don't get up to go work in their business, they're working in the business. They ain't working on the business. There's a big difference to that, right? If they can't get up to go to work or go sell a house in the saturated market or whatever, they don't make an income. You follow me? One accident away from financial devastation. But here's the deal, is that the tax situation's a little bit better. People earn money, spend what they want, and then they're taxed on what's left over. That means write-off, right? That's not bad. Talk to a tax person if you want to know more about that. What this means is that when you go out and you buy a suit here or cut a check for a new training room downstairs, or you do something like that, you get to write it off, right? It's a tax write-off. Anyway, he says the wealth factory begins over here. And I'm not just going through this because Kiyosaki's a stud. I'm going through this because our company can push people through these quadrants pretty darn quickly. Okay. Wealth factory begins. This is where there's some passive income, i.e., leadership compensation. The average millionaire has 7 income streams. I don't know if you guys knew that, right? I remember when I first began in the company, I was in this quadrant that Kiyosaki says you got to run away from. Most people begin there, and I was in that quadrant, and I remember when I first began. People thought I was nuts. I was a full-time manager. I was working over 40 hours a week. I was in my master's degree, MBA, right? I have one now. The only thing that I want MBA to mean is massive bank account. That's the only thing that I want MBA to mean, okay? But I have one of those things. I don't even hang the certificate because it doesn't matter. But I was in the middle of it. Picture this. Anybody been to graduate school, right? It's pretty vigorous, isn't it? Right? Graduate school, full-time, and a full-time job. And my son was 2 years old at the time. And my phone's ringing off the hook with social life stuff, right? Being pulled. Then what I do is begin in this part-time. Because in my head I'm thinking, man, if the average successful person financially has 7 income streams, it's not going to kill me if I have the second one, right? Anyways, I digress with this. Tax structure works the same way, right? And then he talks about the investor quadrant. This is where a person has enough cash money set aside to where 2008 can happen, and they don't even flinch, right? You follow me? Okay. The purpose of this, you guys, is that our system can push people through this. Not everybody wants to have this, right? But some people want it. Like for me, like when I think about this stuff, old way versus new way, I was a client with our company first. I think that's great, that new way is great, but here's the deal, I'm not interested. I'm not, for me, I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in waiting till years down the road so I can have a little bit more, right? That's cool, like we make a difference for people, right? And 99% of the population is right here. So we make a difference for people, but for me personally, I'm not interested in that for me. I don't want to be okay and wealthy later and rich later. I want to be rich right now, right? I grew up in a family of 5 where, we had a humble upbringing, right? And we had the Caprice Classic for a really long time in the family, right? And we were bunched in there and all of that stuff, right? And I used to see a Mercedes S-Class. And I used to think to myself, man, that's a nice car. Hey, Dad, that's a nice car. Who gets to drive those, right? What do you think he told me? Oh, man, very wealthy people, very lucky people, or somebody who may be in retirement. I don't want to drive a Mercedes S-Class later. I drive one today.
Nice.
You follow me? I don't want to wait till maybe sometime in the future with some pipe dream that I can take care of my mom. I bought her a Lexus this month. You follow me? And then I put the second most important woman in my life, which is my son's mother, in a Porsche Cayenne this month. I don't want to wait till later to do it. I want it now, right? So that's what I'm talking to you about. If somebody wants it right now, they can get pushed through and have it right now if they choose to. But if somebody doesn't want it right now, that's totally okay. There's some people like my mother, master in counseling, works in a school. The school systems are so damn broke, they split her between 2 schools.
Yeah, they did.
2 schools. She has a staggered schedule. There's so many kids and parents that need the help and all of this stuff. But they split her on 2 schools because they can't afford it. Mm-hmm. And she makes, we make a big difference for people. She also does in a different kind of way, right? Teachers, counselors, my gosh, utmost respect, right? It's a different kind of way that she makes a difference, right? But she doesn't get paid very well. In March, I made more than she makes in a year, right?
Yeah.
But there are some people like that that just are so dedicated, that love what they do, that don't ever want to change what they do, that are in our company. And if they decide 2 years, 5 years, 2 months, 10 months, whatever, that, man, if I had a little bit more, maybe I can even make a bigger difference. And they wanted to turn it on, they can turn it on, right? That's why this is important also. There's no roof and it's blown out completely. That's what I was talking about. Not everybody has to have those types of goals, but the key is if somebody decides that they do have those goals in their future, that they can pursue them. That's what we're talking about. Okay. I'm going to end this, you guys, with how we get paid. Some of you might be thinking, just show me the money already. The money doesn't matter. The things that I'm talking to you about matter. The money's going to be there. It's great. It's awesome. All of it. The things I'm talking to you about, that's what really matters. Okay, self-employed, personal activity, renewals, and trails. So a person does a plan, they can continue to get paid on that plan, depending on the company. Business owner, here's in layman's terms. The person's a VP in our company, expanding our office, or multiple offices. Excuse me. We're in 3 states. We want to be in all 50 soon. Dear Lord. All right. Passive income, save our money, earn a rate of return. We're not hypocrites, right? I think of the financial plan that I had when I first had it, and I was a manager at UOP. That old way, new way, I mean, that was great, right? But that's going to be like a little throw pillow on the mattress that's going to get created early from the business side. You follow me? But technically, that's a way that we can earn, and we're not hypocrites. We all save money. We don't just talk about it and not do it. So there you go. Let me give you guys an example. Here's an example of earning. We do 2 things: money transfers and new savings, right? So here's an example of money transfer, right? That Charles Schwab example just had an extra 0, but it's the same concept, okay? You guys know why a 401k is called a 401k? Anybody ever talked to you about that? That is section 401, paragraph K in the IRS tax codes, okay? So, people's life savings into a tax code, right? And we wonder why the government has their hands in it. Anyways, this is governed by the same tax code, right? When we make transfers, we don't send our clients a tax bill at the very end of it. Okay, you follow me? It's like-to-like environment. Just in case you're not understanding this, let me just give you a quick training on it. But there you go. Hopefully you understand that. Here's what's happening. High fee red line into 0 fee green line. That's what happens. I'm going to show you some earning on this, okay? Just to put this in crayon for a second. And honestly, it's that easy that we use crayon. So what happens though? Like I remember when my brother Gabriel, who's a United States Marine War veteran, who used to co-own a restaurant in Carmel, California, who's a sommelier, which basically means wine expert, and who's also Screen Actors Guild. He's a SAG member. He's an actor, right? I remember when I went for it here, right, in January 2014. And when I went for it, I left the corporate world, and I was declining things, like $100,000 jobs, like $95,000 salary plus bonus. I had multi-level marketing crap thrown all over me. I had franchise businesses trying to get me to do their franchise thing of $25,000 and you can be a slave to the company and all this stuff, right? I had all these opportunities thrown at me, right? And I was declining all of it. And my brother Gabriel, he's like, man, we're from the other side of the world and we come here and you have a master's degree, Sammy. People, tens of thousands of dollars they pay and all this time they spend getting so they can get this certificate. You have one and you're young. And you have director experience. You have these companies at Starbucks try to get me to be a regional director person over their district managers or something. You have these opportunities coming at you. And you're saying you're declining these? Dude, are you crazy, man? For this financial thing that you don't even need a degree for? Because his mindset was all upper scale, top left quadrant, right? And I was like, Gabriel, here's what's happening, man. This is what's up. This is what I'm doing. And when I explained to him how we get paid in the win-win situation, it kind of clicked with him. But he's like, Sammy, if this is what you're doing and you have all these things happening that you can go out and get and do and you have a master's degree, man, this must be real. And I said, you know what, Gabe? It's real, bro. Like, I'm not a degenerate, right? We didn't come here to squander it. I have a mortgage that I'm paying for. I have my son and I have my family and all of this stuff. I didn't come onto this business and I hope it works, right? When I explained this to him is when the light bulb clicked off for him. And we had a bottle of Caymus. I mean, he's a sommelier, my gosh, but the Caymus is a good wine if you've ever had that. But we had it in a decanter, right? And I remember the conversation, and he pours from the decanter into our glasses, and he says, cheers. He said, if you don't need an education and you don't need a background in this, then prove it to me and you show me. He came into our company, in his 4th month, he made over $20,000 and became a VP in the company. right? But this was the conversation I had with him before we had that cheer. So every time I think this, I think Gabe and I think wine, right? I don't know why my mind works that way. So where does the money come from? And is this a win-win situation? And if you've taken a graduate level business class, you know, and even if it's undergrad, it's all the same thing. It's just you write more in the graduate class. It's like it's the same thing. And you write a business plan. And it's got to be a win-win situation for every internal and external constituent in the business, or you don't have a good business plan if it's not a win-win, right? And I talked to him about how the money works and all of that stuff, because I can't be in a place where there's money falling from weird places and nobody knows where it's coming from, and it's unidentified, and it's just, you know what I'm saying? So here's what's up. So we moved that money over. It goes from a high fee red line into a zero fee green line with one of the most powerful companies on the planet financially. After the transfer, the client still has all their money in their account, and then the companies pay us, not the client, okay? Now, if the client went from a high fee red line, like I had this client, the Charles Schwab client, I literally showed him the Charles Schwab fee structure. Over 30 years, because the gentleman is in his early 50s, over 30 years on his million, he was going to pay 1.4 million in fees. I have demand, the spreadsheet, we have the whole thing on it. So when I take him from that fee-based environment, high fee, into zero fee, what do you think's going on in his brain while we're talking about it? That he's going to save $1.4 million. And he's going to probably have more than that even, because that's more money that can compound interest, right? So when he goes from that high fee, volatile, could lose money environment to a zero fee, never lose money environment, and he still has all his money in there, whether it's $1 million or 100 grand, how much did it cost for that person? What did it cost? Zero. Free, complimentary. Hey Sammy, you're gonna take me to your fancy Biltmore office space over here and do a financial plan for me? Come on, man. How much? How much does that cost? Right? Complimentary. Totally, we'll take care of you. As a matter of fact, we won't even do business in the first time that we meet. Right? That's nice to be able to say that to people, and also it's a win for that person. Can we all agree that that's a win for the client? I mean, my gosh, right? So how's it a win for these companies? These big companies? How's it a win for them? If you've ever worked in a big company before, like a corporate deal where the HR department is like massive and split into a bunch of different groups, right? There's an example of a company. And in that HR, there is recruiting departments, or if you want to be like really PC, it's talent acquisition, right? And what are they going to do? They're going to scour the internet, and they're going to, put people through behavioral-based questionnaire ringers, right? Some of them graduate out of there into an interview. And then managers and directors are interviewing them. They're wasting a bunch of time saying yes to a few. And I'm giving you kind of a high-level view of this, right? They're going to go into a training room where there's paid trainers to spend 2-3 weeks with people. Then this unproven employee is then going to hit the floor, and they're going to liability and their benefits, right? Think about this from a little bit higher level. And this person hits the floor. You know how many salaries we're getting paid out every other week so this person can hit the floor? You know how expensive it is to recruit a person into a company or bring them into the talent acquisition side of it? It's expensive, man. It's also very risky. This is why they put people through the ringers on the front end. It's very risky. If they go wrong, they're screwed on the books. It takes around 12 months to break even on a new hire for most companies, right? This is why they're so crazy on the front end of it most of the time, right? Now, when a company can just pay out a non-captive for bringing them a client instead, it alleviates this risk and expensive process, right? Does that make sense? Their client acquisition cost goes like this. Their risk goes like this. Okay? This is why we have these companies sending us their boxes of paraphernalia and their materials. Hey, our index crediting cap rate just went up 0.25%. Can you please offer us? If they're A-rated, we might take a look. We have a very high standard, right? We'll only work with the Rolls-Royce environment, right? That's our win. Win for the client, win for the companies we work with. Our win is that we choose. We have an internal locus of control. Just like the decision, Rich, I was talking about, we choose. Instead of being mandated by an external locus of control that demands control of what we do. We choose. We'll always have the Rolls-Royce environment, right? It allows us to put our arm around people instead of try and do that with people, right? Hopefully that made sense to you. But for me, that was very, very important and a non-negotiable. I'm going to give you an example, you guys, of a money transfer and a new savings, because there's only two things happening. Either somebody's retired or they're not. If they're retired, we're probably only going to be looking at the top. If they're not retired, then we're going to look at some new savings. This just happens to be the most frequently used new savings vehicle because it comes with benefits that are actually tangibly used on the front end if somebody needs it. And it requires less money in to get more money out. And it becomes a tax-free cash cow at the end of it. This is, people get, like Saturdays we do like product training here. So we go into depth on all of this stuff and all of that stuff. But in a nutshell, I'm giving it to you on a bumper sticker. So we do other stuff, but this is kind of what we do. In terms of the new savings. Money transfers, new savings. How do we get paid on this? A lot of the time we sit down with somebody and we do a combination. A lot of the time. This is like a very average scenario here. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you guys comp. And I always think of two ways on how we get paid. Or two ways to get paid. One is working as an employee with an employer. Right? You guys know what that is, right? Everybody usually does. I don't know about you guys, but when I was a director, even before that, but even as a director, I should say, I always felt like I was a kitten in a cage. Okay, I was treated a certain way. Okay, my boundaries were very clear: what I can do, what I can't do, what I have to do, when I have to do it, how I do it, who I do it around, the parameters I do it in, the time frame that I get to do it. Right? Who has to be around me while I do it? All this stuff, right? Boundaries and limitations. Boundaries and limitations. This is why it's up here in this quadrant of income, boundaries, and limitations. 76% of the United States population, unfortunately, within 2 paychecks, most of them within 1 of being financially destitute and broke, right? Income, boundaries, and limitations, right? Now, if I was going to give you the inverse relationship of kitten in a cage, we are like lions and lionesses in the jungle, okay? We're at the top of the food chain, that's for sure, but we have the ultimate freedom of do whatever we want, right? Now, to some people, that could be detrimental for them if they're immature or don't have a good way of self-controlling their mind, or you follow me, right? Because the person is so used to being in handcuffs in a cage. And if they ain't in handcuffs in a cage, they don't work, they don't do anything, right? But a person gets a little freedom if they have some self-control, okay? And they can control themselves, it's the best thing that can ever happen to somebody, in my opinion, right? So forgive me for saying this. Instead of having a shitty salary, 50, 60 a year or whatever, with little percentages on top, right? We just have respectable percentages for people, and then give them the opportunity to have all of it, which is 100%, and then own it. That's the difference. Okay? So I'm going to give you guys just an early stage of compensation, okay? An early example of it, and then we're going to move on. So here's what a person at the very beginning in our company is a training associate. This is what that person would earn doing this plan. Okay? Now, $2,000 is $2,000. It's not bad, right? It is what it is, right? Most people begin part-time. If somebody does that once a month, which is the person's probably sleeping most of the time, to do one a month, they'll earn $25,000 extra dollars that year. They make $75,000, boom. Oh man, my goal's been always to make $100,000, but I'm capped at 70 and whatever, 75. Boom. Once a month, person's at 100 that year, right? It's not bad. I don't know what $2,000 would do for somebody, whether that pays off a credit card or a medical bill for a family member, or start an emergency fund, step 3 that they've never had, like Matt showed you, or takes them on vacation, or whatever, right? I don't know what it's going to do, but $2,000 is $2,000. That's what that would do. First meeting, hour and a half. Put a plan together. We have consultants that shop the industry software, put it in a nice PowerPoint presentation that's presentable. Second meeting, another hour or so. Simple process. Right? Usually it's a week between the first meeting and the second meeting. Anyways, so if somebody did this twice a month, that's $50,000 a year at the earliest contract level. Right? Picture going into the JOB, and which always meant just over broke for me. Even as a director, I promise you. Seriously, right? But picture going into the job and then talking to the manager of that place and saying, hey, manager person, how do I make $50,000 extra this year? What do you think they're going to tell you? They're going to LOL all over you, right? That's what's going to happen, man. Then say, how do I make it this month? Then they're really going to laugh at you, right? Because they might not even make that themselves, let alone have a chance, right? Because they're so far over here in the quadrant. right? But there you go. If we decide to work with somebody, we like to get them promoted quickly to senior associate. We push people up around here. That's a 33% raise from the first one that you saw. So that's the same plan, by the way. Just shy of $3,000. Okay, that's not bad. Okay. PVP, provisional vice president, fancy title. It's just higher contract level. Right? And more take home, $4,000. That's not bad. Daniel, myself, Matt, my brother, Joe. This is the full time. This is where somebody puts their job. They're like, see you later, man. We're done here, right? And then you fire your boss. Right? So, $4,000, right? That's not bad. We have a person. My brother Gabe did over $20,000 at this contract level. Anna is a woman who did $28,000 at this contract level. I mean, cash flow. Cash flow means direct deposit into the checking account, not some future we'll see it later thing. I'm talking about in the checking account that month. So a lot of success at this contract level. Here's VP. Here's 100%. That's for doing that plan, right? And at the very end of this, you guys, we're going to set up a time to get back together, and we can go through some Q&As and that kind of thing. But that's VP. That's 100%. That's not bad, right? Picture of an extra zero on that, right? That's not too bad in one transaction, right? Actually helping the person and helping them so good that they invite you over to. Have you guys ever been to the Bobby Q's over kind of a hidden barbecue spot?
Yeah.
In the 17 and something? I was over there 2 weekends ago with him and his sister and his brother, right? And it's thank yous and man, you know, I want you to meet my family after that. You know what I'm saying? Like that feels good, right? It's so tough to be able to make a difference and then also be able to have the compensation, right? It's tough to find those two together. Very challenging to do, right? But nevertheless, you guys, here's something I want to make clear. We have 10 VPs in our company. We want to have over 100, okay? There's no scarcity of this contract level, okay? Like I said, the title doesn't mean anything. It's just a contract level, right? Well, maybe we should change the title. People would be less afraid of it, right? But here's the thing. We have 10, we want to have over 100. I just want you guys to know that this position in the company, there's no scarcity of it. In my last company, when I was a director, it was like one of these deals where to be a VP, I'd only make 150, which is not even my goal. And I'd have to acquire it. I'd have to kiss the right ass. I'd have to talk to the right people. I'd have to interview in a certain way. And all of this stuff is all subjective. And then it was an acquired position. And you have to wait in line for it, right? And like a slave, right? Like a person in a cell. Right, like a freaking prisoner, right? In my opinion, this is how I see it. And that was an acquired position. In our company, it's not an acquired position, right? It's a created one. So when you can create something, you can create it in an unlimited fashion. So around here, it's not like this, it's like this, okay? It doesn't matter if somebody started their training program in 2014 like I did, or if somebody started it later like Matt did, or like Daniel did, or like my brother Gabriel. It doesn't matter when, if it's 2016, 17, whatever. Everybody has the opportunity to have that contract level, and we're like this. If I do this plan, my brother does this plan, Matt, any VP does this plan, we get paid the same amount. Nobody's getting paid any more or less. Matt made more money last month than I did. I made multiple 5 figures, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't 5 of them, right? We're like this. For me in leadership, that was important. I can't be in a situation where I'm incentivized to go like this to people, right? That sucks, right? We're incentivized to go like this to people because I get a bonus when I promote out of VP. It's a win-win. Remember, if it's not a win-win, it doesn't work. It's a win-win, right? So we go like this instead of like this, like most of the time, right? For me, that was a non-negotiable. From the leadership side of the house, right? Non-negotiable. We push people up here, we push them up quickly. It's our darn expectation if somebody wants it that they have this immediately, right? Because that's how we're gonna grow our company, right? So there you go, you guys. We're also very family oriented. We want extraordinary lifestyles for our family. We take trips. Here's our examples of some of the trips. My mentor, multi-millionaire, really good guy. He came out of retirement to put our company together so we could help change that statistic that we were talking about. Raised by 2 school teachers, very humble upbringing. He literally, I think I see him wearing one of the same 3 shirts every time I see him, right? He's just a very humble guy, you know, and just world-class mindset. It's unbelievable. Family man, all of it. This is Dina. She's like the VP in California, is what I say. She's a little bit further down the I-10, so to speak, if you know what I'm saying. My biggest month says $54,000 on my plaque in my office right now. Congratulations, you made $54,000 in a month. Her biggest plaques is 208,000 in a month. She made 750K last year, and she's going to do $1 million this year. She was a registered nurse about 6.5 years ago, and a single mom. Right? Higher life form thinker. Love Dina. Right? Great example of success. Okay, here's we do trips. Here's some pictures of a couple of the trips. This is Hawaii. We did this last year. That's me, and that's my son, and that's mentor, his daughter, Dina. I just talked about her son. We're swimming with a dolphin. That's Brig, who did my plano. I said he was a really kind gentleman. That's Daniel. That's me. We're doing the hang loose. We're in Hawaii. We, picture with the family, all that fun stuff. We did this in February, Cozumel, Belize, Honduras. All expenses paid trip, 8 days, 7 nights. It's like a Las Vegas on this cruise ship, basically. Anything, that's just fantastic. We did, in the 3 countries, we did scuba diving in Honduras, which has the 2nd largest coral reef on the planet after Australia. It was just epic. It was like, have you guys seen Finding Nemo? You're like in the deal. Like you're like in the, it was crazy, right? Unbelievable. And then we're going on this trip. I can't wait. My son, he's like, when am I going to see my vacation buddies, right? He's talking about all the other kids on the trip, right? And we're doing this in November, Ritz-Carlton, Cancun. I've never been to Cancun, so we're going to do it up at the Ritz. Man, that's going to be fun. So we're doing that in November. We do 2 trips a year. Anybody, doesn't matter if they're a training associate or VP or anybody else, right? As a matter of fact, Daniel was the first person when he was a senior associate. He was the first senior associate to go on a trip in the company, right? But anybody can go out on these trips. But it's a whole lot of fun. The moral of this, you guys, is that we work hard, but we also play hard. And we're also family-oriented people. Sometimes we see little kids running around over here. We share it with our families, okay? That's the moral of this. So here's what I'm gonna end it with, is our company is going to double in size, you guys. That is imminently going to happen. It's going to happen with or without me, Daniel, Matt, or anybody else that you saw here today, right? Including us in here, right? It's going to happen with or without us. But I just know from personal experience, it is a lot more fun with us than without us, right? But that's for sure. So we're done for the morning, you guys. Here's what we're going to do at this point. We're going to pass out some questionnaires, and then we're going to set up a time to get back together in the next 24 to 48 hours. So we can sit down and talk in a more one-on-one basis and take it from there. That way everything is still fresh in your brain, and then you guys are still fresh in ours as well. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to pass out these questionnaires and make that happen. And Mr. Anguiano over here is going to try and pass it down. There we go. There you go.
Pass those back.
Got just one each, it's fine. And then you're good to go, Nicole.
Yeah.
Since this is, I just wanted you to be in here for a second. So you are good.
So are we,
You pass one to
do I
Mikey.
come back?
No, just you can have a seat outside for a second.
Excuse me.
Actually, you know what, Nicole? Hang out for a second because we're gonna go through. I want to hear. I think Mr. Anguiano is gonna talk a little bit, so I don't want you to miss it. So here's what's going on. Do you guys need a pen?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Here we go.
With the screen.
We're a little bit low on our pen supply, but we went to an event and somebody forgot to pick up. Nice catch. Anybody else?
Yeah.
All right, corner pocket. Nice one. Anybody else? Pen. Good. Okay. Very good. So you guys, my son is in 1st grade. He came home with a worksheet that was like 10 times more challenging than this one. But nevertheless, fill in the blank scenario. Pretty simple. Then there's boxes to check. Okay. And from the business side, we broke it up into the way that we broke up the presentation. So if part-time second income crossed your mind, I would check that box. Okay. If, as we were going through this, you wanted to think about the business side from a larger scale, I would check that second box to go with it. If you thought of somebody that you think it would make sense for us to talk to, I'd check that 3rd one with it. We are doubling in size. The concepts and products, if you thought of your family and financial independence for them as we were going through this, I would check that box. If you like the idea of tax-free and tax advantages as Matt was going through it, I would check that next one with it. A lot of people start thinking about their own current plan. So if you started thinking about yourself that way, I would check that 3rd one with it. Then there's an appointment section, and that's going to be here, you guys, within 24 to 48 business hours, right? So that's going to be here at the office Monday or Tuesday, and ideally during the day, right? So put as many time frames that may work for you. If you're flexible in your schedule or you're completely open, right? That there's no shame in that game. Just put open or flexible, and we'll work that through. If you work a 9 to 5, like a lot of people do or have worked before, then your availability might be right before you go to work, or during the lunch, or right after. Right. So go through and put as many time frames that might work, and we'll try to overlap that with us. Okay, I'm going to pass it over to Daniel for the feedback part of it. I think he wants to put you guys on the spot here. So,
Well, we love feedback, guys. So if you guys could just give us one thing very quickly so we can get out of here that you really appreciated about our company, one thing that stood out, one thing that you liked about it, whether it was from the business side or on the client side. And we'll start off here, ladies first. Go ahead. Stephanie, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Something I like is the concept of not losing money and risking.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, who wants to lose money? Thanks.
I like the concept of pretty much being able to help someone without having to push them.
Right, never doing
Push
business
them
on the first.
to buy something, to purchase something, to get enrolled. And it's not going to benefit them. This is going to benefit them
Yep.
entirely, so.
Yeah, you have to have some time to research, right?
Yeah.
Thanks, Olivia. Go ahead.
Bev, I like the concept that everybody moves how they want to move their business.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. Thank you for that. Warren.
I like the integrity part of it, and also family oriented.
Yeah, yeah.
Verizon Wireless.
Thank you. Kristen.
I like the concept of no pressure on the first
Yeah.
meeting.
We love that too, man. I hate to be pressuring you.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. Bob.
Well, it's almost too good to be true. But I think the whole idea of being able to help people do something where they're losing money to the point where they're taking that same dollar and making money.
Yeah, just a conventional way of doing things. Have people just really don't know and not educated. When people are not educated, they can't make the right decisions. So we take an educational approach to how it all works. But yeah, thanks, Bob. Viola.
Like being able to help other people and not having to sell anything and push them, and just so they can be able to see what we can do.
Right. Educational, always. Thank you. Mikey.
I actually like pretty much everything that I've heard so far. It all seemed very good, said solid, sincere. What stands out most is that you all seem very sincere and genuine in what you do.
Oh, thank you. We love what we do. Yeah. Nicole.
Yes.
What is one thing that stood out from the client side or business side? They
The
really like,
client side and the business side, well,
or either or. One thing that you like.
one thing that I like, I feel that I can grow in this company and bring me a good opportunity to receive the lifestyle that I do want to live.
Yeah.
I feel that you guys have a lot of opportunity here, and I feel that I can be also a source to your guys' company to better improve myself, to help your business grow and help,
Yeah.
do the things that I need to do.
Good.
I intend to stay here and try to strive off the best that I can and do the challenges
Awesome.
that I need to receive.
Yeah, thanks for that. Definitely, we're growing, we're doubling in size, so it's the sky's the limit, really. Ken.
I like the concept of a second income.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
I like that we can help take our clients' money and transfer it for zero free, you know what I mean, into that IRA, and then the result I get paid for it too. Like, you know what I mean, I'm helping them help me.
It's a win-win situation every time.
Exactly.
And there's an infinite amount of people that we can actually help because people don't really know what's going on in their IRAs or 401ks and all that stuff. I saw the light too, man. What's yours?
I mean, the same thing it says,
Yeah.
helping out the customer and like financially, like being stable,
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
The concept I like is the win-win concept. It's not win, but win-win. So
Win-win. Yes,
win-win.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Everyone's said pretty much everything.
Yeah.
I'm at the end of the line. I like thinking about it when instead of it's them trying to get as much money as possible, we're like worried about how much not to lose.
Yeah.
Not worried about the gain. We're worried about the loss. That's
Right.
the main
most,
focus of
most
transferring,
important part of it. Yeah. You guys went over the Warren Buffett, slide,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Okay. Good. Tyler.
I mean, I like the integrity part. That everyone's in it for, for the good, pretty much.
Thanks, Tyler. And last but not least,
I
Brandon.
like definitely the integrity. I also like the fact that it's family oriented. I really like. It seems like everyone actually cares. And not only that, saving. I had my uncle. He's pretty wealthy, lives in Europe, and he told me, he was like, you know why all these people that are like don't have as much money or stuff as I do? It's because I've been saving for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the key.
It's key.
It is actually a key. If you learn how to save, you're golden.
Yeah. Guys, thanks for allowing me to put you on the spot. I know you guys weren't expecting to do any type of public speaking today. So you guys did a great job. Did you want to say something?
I just wanted to add on, I like the non-captive.
Non-captive.
Systematic approach. I'm interested in learning more.
Yeah, I didn't hear that one. Yeah, good catch. Yeah. Very good. Guys, again, thanks a lot. You guys did great, and we look forward to seeing you here in the next 24 to 48 hours. Good job.
All right, you guys. Very good. Depending on how you got here is going to determine who's going to meet with you after that. We're very systematic, of course. So it's systematic. Always. So put as many time frames that work, and then if you have one already, then we should be good to go. Tyler, I'm going to meet Tuesday with you. Okay. So let me see what I got. What's your schedule? Is that what time you get off for work?
I get off 5.
At 3. Okay. You get off at 5. Yeah. Why don't we do this?
Yeah.
I can grab some food or something at like 8:30. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I think we can do that. Okay. Can you just circle it? I think we should be good to go.
Put that in your calendar.
Sure. All right. And I'll keep
So do you have
that.
the validations?
Yeah.
We are good.
Okay. Right here.
Really nice meeting you.
I thought I had them.
See, you too.
Yeah. I thought I had them out. I can remember right here.
I'll give.
Validation.
Yes. So. Here, Matt, let me give you what you think. Dana.
Thank you.
All right.
What do you think?
All right. Perfect.
Did you?
All right. And what about you, Amelia? What's your schedule looking like?
Oh, I know. Okay.
do it
So
on
Matt. Tyler, do you need
you can call me
Yes.
out.
Ooh, that's sorry.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. You work pretty late, right?
Okay. Yes. I'll just give Matt a second.
Why don't we do this? Because Tuesdays I'll be down in a meeting right around that time.
Very good. Tyler, you're good to go. We'll get you out there for 30 to 40 minutes.
Yeah.
All right.
With Hannah.
Very good. Why don't we do tomorrow? 10 a.m. Would that work better for you?
Okay. Yeah. Get with Matt for a second so you guys can work that out.
What's the latest?
What's the earliest you can do?
Yeah, just give a second. Since Matt's going to go through a lot of these. Matt's going to head a lot of these interviews, so just wait for Matthew,
I'm not available
and
until
we'll help you out.
7.
Yeah.
And I think
Okay.
Joe's
You
going to be
take
helping out too.
Right.
Good seeing you again.
Is there any time tomorrow that you have
Yes, give me a second.
Okay.
Anybody need validation? Anybody else?
I do. Where do you live?
Can you need one? Sure, ma'am.
Okay.
Very good. I think Daniel's going to get with you.
We will. I could do some. What part of town do you work in?
All right, we'll see you Tuesday.
Same Linda, right?
Yeah, good to go.
Okay. I know that's maybe we can meet before then. Monday, you get off at 3.
I'm off.
And then right after that, what do you do?
I go to the
Okay. If we can meet here then at like around 8:30, then that would be probably Monday here at my office at 8:30 p.m. instead of 7. My appointment will run through about 7:38. So we'll have people meeting here on Monday. So if we do it 8 or 8:30, we can. Does that work for you?
Yeah.
All right.
You have their form?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, you did.
I was just coming to talk to you, so.
Okay, good. Did you get a validation pass?
I did.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right. Nice
Then
meeting you,
I'll
Olivia.
expect a call from you?
No, you won't. You just meet
Just show
here.
up?
Just show up at 8:30, and we'll do it. If you want to call me or anything between now and then, or for any questions, you can call me though. All right, sounds good. All right. How's it going? What's your schedule looking like? Is it pretty open?
Yeah.
Tuesday you're pretty open. Okay.
Okay, you got.
Can we meet in the AM at all?
Scan that one and then scan the second one.
Anytime in the AM? Maybe like at 10 or 10:30 or 11? Does that work good for you?
Probably 11 would be all right.
11? Okay. Monday or Tuesday? Tuesday. Okay. We'll meet here at the office and bring up your parking pass. Did you get validated already?
I did, yeah.
You didn't need it? Okay. So yeah, we'll just meet here for next time. If you need a validation, just bring it up to the 3rd floor and I'll get that validated for you. And if you have any other questions or anything, we'll go over that at 11 a.m. on Tuesday.
Okay.
Sound good?
Okay.
All right, Ken. Really nice meeting you. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, they are?
Okay, so I'm gonna call Martha right now and tell her.
You can hang out here. Priscilla,
Mr. Daniel.
how are ya?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. Busy.
Oh, one comes up there.
Busy.
Do you guys need help?